I think it's safe to say that Pikachu is a mascot of the Pokemon franchise. We've seen it had a few placements in competitive Pokemon here and there with unique sets like the Light Ball set, the Violet set. Its evolution was able to win. Its counterpart was able to win a World Championship as well. However, how good can Pikachu be in the current generation and the current regulation? That's what we're here to explore, and we're going to be trying out Pikachu and seeing if it can perform well. This is a Pikachu team that was able to reach the top 100 of the stadium ladder in the early parts of the season, and we're going to be trying out and seeing how well it can perform. Let's break it down though. First Pokemon up is the Zacian Crown with the Rusted Sword with as the ability giving it a +1 attack during the battle with a Fighting Terra type with Behemoth Blade, Play Rough, Sacred Sword, and Protect. Yeah, Zacian's of course an interesting restricted, but is one of the fastest restricteds out there and one of the best partners to Kyogre just because of its gray typing and the way that Zacian is pretty good into most of the Miraidon stuff, especially if they are the Fairy Terra type. The Terra fighting on the Zacian is an interesting choice, but with Sacred Sword, it really allows for some powerful Sacred Swords to be able to threaten Pokemon like the Incineroar, and of course the Zamazenta, with Sacred Sword being able to ignore the defense boost that the Zamazenta gets, and can also help the team break through the Nozo a bit easier because Sacred Sword is able to again ignore the defense boost that they are receiving. Behemoth Blade and the Play Rough are same type attack bonuses that are just really strong, good coverage options in general. It would hit like Calyx Ice Rider, Miraidon, and more Pokemon out there, and really benefit with the +1 attack that the Zacian gets once per battle. And yeah, it's just a really good restricted with the EV spread being 212 speed with Jolly Nature. This allows the Zacian to outspeed the base 135s that are max speed like Miraidon, Koraidon, Chi, and Palflarmine, but it also allows it to outspeed Pokemon such as the Dragapult, and anything below the Dragapult, which is most Pokemon in the format, you are able to outspeed otherwise. The attack, pretty much you want as much offense as possible since this is more of an offensive team, so going with 236 and then the remaining going into HP. Next Pokemon we have is the Assault Vest Kyogre, giving it a boost to its already impressive special defense with the Drizzle ability to summon the rain, the Water Terra type to boost up the power of its water moves even further with Water Spout, Origin Pulse, Ice Beam, and Thunder. This is an offensive Kyogre with the Assault Vest just able to help out special defense, allow it to take moves like the Astral Barrage from Kyogre as well as the attacks from Miraidon well. And with paired with Pikachu, you don't have to worry about the electric type moves, especially the Electro Drift, but you still have to worry about moves like the Draco Meteor, the Dazzling Gleam. So you still want to make sure that Kyogre is able to threaten and not really worry as much about the Draco Meteor. So you have that Assault Vest that's just able to help out its special defense there and just tank attacks in general with this Kyogre. Its coverage has really impressive spread water type moves, the Ice Beam that is just able to hit the grass and the dragon types that Kyogre can't hit otherwise for as much, and then Thunder to be able to hit the water types and the Terra waters especially. So for the EV spread, you might notice that is a 244 speed Timid Nature Kyogre, which is very fast, hits a speed stat of 155, and this allows you to do a few things with the Kyogre. This Kyogre is able to outspeed stuff like Adamant max speed or Shifu, Modest max speed Lunala, those Pokemon that range. There are a few Pokemon that I tend to speed creep it, hitting around 150 to 154 in the speed stat natures, especially like the Ogrepons that we saw in Regulation G. Sometimes the Cheese that Wern Choice Scarf were in that range, so you are able to speed creep those Pokemon as 156. It doesn't really make that much of a difference realistically around that tier. And this also allows the Kyogre, with the help of the Nuzzle Pikachu as well as the speed control from the Grimmsnarl with Scary Face, allow it to outspeed even Pokemon after they got in the speed booster energy, or Pokemon even under Tailwind after you are able to get that Nuzzle or you're able to get the Scary Face off. It allows the Kyogre to be able to outspeed those Pokemon and threaten them with a fast Water Spout. Otherwise, the EV's remainder just go into special attack and HP, good amount of special attack, so you're still doing a good amount of damage. And then the 108 in HP is able to allow the Kyogre just to be able to tank attacks with the Assault Vest a bit better. Next Pokemon, the star of the show, an interesting one with the Pikachu with the Focus Sash, which is just allowing the Pikachu to survive one hit normally with the Lightning Rod ability to draw away the electric type attacks and give Pikachu a special attack boost, even though this Pikachu doesn't have any special attacks. The Ghost Terra type, which is able to help out against Fake Out and Extreme Speed with the Nuzzle, Endeavor, Upper Hand, and Fake Out. So Nuzzle is able to help with the paralysis for speed control, really useful on a Zacian Kyogre team. Endeavor As you might have seen from the Infernape episode, it is the same creators, so Endeavor Focus Sash is that combination, and Pikachu's more effective than the Raichu in this case, mainly because it just has way worse HP and defenses. So there's that, as well as a mind game between the factor of what could the Pikachu hold. It could be a light ball set, so you always have to fear that as well. So that you do play that mind game in team preview in a closed team sheet best of 1 ladder setting. Upper hand, which is able to stop any priority moves or get a little bit of chip damage in most cases, like on an Incineroar stopping a fake out, a Rillaboom Grassy Glide, etc., which can help out the Kyogre or the Zacian immensely, and of course fake out for your own support. For the EV spread, it is max attack and max speed because you are running that Focus Sash, and you do notice that it is 0 IVs in HP, special defense, and then defense has 21, which I'm not sure if it's mainly because I know the Pikachu is shiny in game, so I'm just curious if it just was the best that it could be, with like getting 0 IVs in multiple stats is already pretty difficult, but also the factor that I believe it could maybe survive something with the 21 defense, but I really do think it was mainly because it was just a shiny Pikachu that they had that had 0 IVs in HP and special defense, so the Pikachu takes more damage. So you are able to go for a Endeavor, which is based off the HP stat of the Pikachu, and just be able to get more damage that way. Next Pokemon we have is an interesting one with the Galarian Moltres with the Covert Cloak, which is able to prevent any fake out, flinches, or any speed draws from Icy Wind and Electroweb. It can also help out against Snarl stuff as well, not taking that special attack decrease, with the Berserk ability, which allows the Galarian Moltres to get a special attack boost when below 50%. The Steel Terra type is the defensive typing that's able to help out against Calyx Ice Rider, as well as Fairy types, which do a lot of damage to Galarian Moltres. With Fiery Wrath, a spread dark type move that has a pretty decent chance to flinch. Hurricane, which is a strong flying type attack that's a bit inaccurate but guaranteed to hit under the rain. Tailwind for the speed control support, and then Protect. It is an interesting mon we don't really commonly see, but is a mon that can help out with the flying coverage to hit the grass types, as well as the dark coverage. That's just nice against the Shadow Rider Calyrex, as well as the Lunala, assuming they're not Terra Fairy Moonblast, but it can threaten those Ghost Psychic types pretty well. It's able to take the Astral Barrages extremely well because of its really good special defense, and then neutrals a Body Press, so it does have some wins against Calyrex, Shadow Rider, plus Zamazenta combinations. Otherwise, the EV spread, it is a pretty bulky one. It is max HP on the Galarian Moltres to be able to take hits. It does have a good amount of special attack though, with the modest 156, so your Hurricanes and Fiery Wraths are doing a good amount of damage, and then the rest, the remainder, is going to go into speed. And yeah, I don't think there's like any specific speed that the Galarian Moltres is designed to outspeed. It's maybe able to speed tie the max speed Incineroar, so it'll outspeed a lot of the slower Rillaboom's out there, which most of them are. And yeah, that's pretty much it otherwise. Next Pokemon we have is the Rocky Helmet Amoonguss with the Regenerator, which allows it to heal when it is switched out. The Water Terra type with the Foul Play, Pollen Puff, Spore, and Rage Powder. It is a pretty standard Amoonguss with the Water Terra type that is just really good defensively against Calyx Ice Rider, the Fire type moves, especially from Sun boosted attacks like the Koraidon and Chi-Yu especially. It is a very good Terra type with. Otherwise, Pollen Puff, able to heal your ally, a Bug type move that's also able to chip your opponent. The Spore, of course, put your opponent to sleep. Rage Powder for the redirection. Foul Play is an interesting move over Protect, and Foul Play is really cool because it is able to hit the Shadow Rider Calyxes and the Calyx Ice Riders that are able to do a lot, especially because a lot of Calyx Ice Rider teams run Pokemon like Miraidon, for instance. Being able to actually threaten a pretty strong hit with Foul Play and catch them off guard, thinking they're safe, but that Foul Play doing a ton of damage can mess up things immensely for them, especially after they get chipped from a very powerful water spell from Kyogre. It can be pretty nice, as well as Shadow Rider, because they might expect, oh, maybe the Amoonguss got taunted from like a Weezing, and then you get Foul Play into the Shadow Rider. It can catch quite a bit off guard. With the EV spread, pretty simple. It's a max defense Amoonguss, pretty much. It's able to survive one spread Glacial Lance from a Calyx Ice Rider, and yes, able to tank the Surge Strikes from the opposing or Shifu Rapid Strikes as well, because Rain Boosted Surge Strikes does hurt. And again, the Kyogre Zacian, that's the main roles that this defensive Amoonguss can provide. Final Pokemon on this team is the Power Bracer Grimmsnarl. And you might be wondering if the creator just left the Power Bracer on the Grimmsnarl by accident, but no, it does have a purpose. With Pranksters as its ability that is able to give a +1 priority to any non-attacking moves, that trick with the Power Bracer, you're able to steal the opponent's item and trade it for your own, and then you have the speed of your opponent's target. So it can be a really nice way of like stealing some crucial items as well as making the opponent a lot less threatening, with the Terra Steel type as the defensive typing to help out against really strong attacks, especially the fairy coverage from like Fluttermanes and the Miraidons, but also can help out against Kyogre Zacian as well. Foul Play, able to dish out a ton of damage based on the opponent's attack stat. Fake Out for support. The Trick, which is again with the Power Bracer, can steal some important items. And then Scary Face, a way to consistently get some good speed control into the opponent with a -2 speed attached to them, so Kyogre and Zacian can outspeed Pokemon even under Tailwind. With the EV spread, it is just a defensive Grimmsnarl. It is max HP, 212 defense, 36 special defense with the boost, and then the remainder just going to speed. And it even has 4 special attack EVs, but those EVs are wasted. I'm a bit surprised it doesn't utilize a bit more attack on the Grimmsnarl, because you do have Fake Out for a bit of extra damage, but the Grimmsnarl ended up choosing to go with a 0 attack IEV as well as a calm nature instead, maybe just to reduce confusion damage in general. But Grimmsnarl, this is mainly a form of speed control just to enable the Zacian and the Kyogre. It doesn't have screens. It's able to be a nuisance with the Trick Power Bracer to get rid of important items that can be vital to your opponent's strategies, be disruptive, but also again allow Kyogre and Zacian to wreak havoc. So how to use the team? Well, a lot of the team is playing aggressive with your restricted. The Zacian and the Kyogre is able to do a lot, and they're going to be your main attackers. You want to support them utilizing your supports with the Grimmsnarl that is able to allow some speed control, Fake Out support as well. The Amoonguss with the redirection as well as the Pollen Puff healing is always appreciated. The Galarian Moltres, which can set up Tailwind, especially against the grass types, as well as the Zamazenta and Kyogre Shadow Rider, that can be a bit difficult. And of course Pikachu, that is able to make Miraidon cry a bit because it's not able to use its electric type moves. And you do have that Fake Out as well as the Endeavor, which can weaken opponents and get rid of some really threatening Pokemon that might be able to wall the Kyogre and the Zacian normally, such as a Zamazenta and a few others that could be really hard to get rid of naturally. Even Terra Water like Kyogre's Ice Rider can be a bit annoying. You have that Endeavor, the Pikachu is able to lower the opponent's HP, and then that allows your Kyogre and your Zacian to actually threaten a bit more damage. If you'd like to check out the details of the team and the creator, they'll be linked in the description down below. And let me know if you are attached to Pikachu or not. Does Pikachu have any special meanings to you? Because I do love Pikachu just because I did grow up with the anime, and I do like this Pokemon a lot. And yeah, like I've used it a few times throughout the channel and competitively, and the Mon can have some fun points. But we are going to be trying out this Fake Out Endeavor set with the Nuzzle and see how well it can perform. Whimsicott, Miraidon, Zacian, Incineroar, Wellspring, Ogerpon, and the Iron Boulder. All right. This is going to be quite something. Quite something. They have a very fast pace offensive team. I don't know if I want to lead Zacian. The fact that they have Wellspring Ogerpon is actually kind of frustrating because Kyogre could sweep this team if it wasn't for it. All right, how am I playing around this? I do want to bring my Pikachu Zacian combo, I think. The question is, how am I beating the Wellspring? Because I guess I do have Galarian Moltres. It's not the greatest into the restricteds, though. That's my problem. It's really bad into the restricteds. And it doesn't switch into a attack well either. I think I'm just going to do Pikachu plus the Kyogre. I think it's an okay lead. I think Amoonguss is pretty good, and then I'm gonna bring the Zacian. They got pressure immediately. The Water Spout to do a decent amount of damage. If they lead Wellspring, we're gonna have problems. We're gonna have problems if they do, but we'll see. It's gonna be Whimsicott Miraidon. Yeah, this is kind of a lead I would expect here. So I do lead my Kyogre plus Pikachu. They're not gonna go for the electric moves unless they have Discharge for some reason. So Kind of curious if I can just fake out the Miraidon, but would be taking a Moonblast. I could see Draco Meteor coming out immediately, which wouldn't be fun to deal with. I'm not really scared of the Miraidon. I think Whimsicott's actually more annoying to deal with. I think I'm gonna go for an Ice Beam into Whimsicott and swap to a Moongus. And the reason I'm gonna make this play is because I don't want to lose Pikachu Sash, and I think it's decently valuable. So I'm gonna go into Moongus to be able to absorb like Dazzling Gleam plus Moonblast combination that they could go for. Miraidon protects, so they're not choiced, which I kind of was hoping that they would be choice locked into something, but okay. They do go for a Tailwind Whimsicott. So I mean, if I stayed in and clicked Fake Out, it didn't really change much, so this kind of works out. I do get an Ice Beam off into the Whimsicott to bring it down to a Focus Sash. Okay. Don't think that's too bad. I'm okay with throwing off a Water Spout plus a Rage Powder here because I do not want, well, this could be, actually this could be Endeavor, and they ignore the Rage Powder. I should have Origin. Oh, if they Encore, that's fine too. Ideally I hit the Whimsicott, but if I hit the Miraidon, that's not too bad either. A Volt Switch? If I switched in Pikachu, oh, that would have been bad for them. This is probably Zacian then, right? Because I don't think you Volt Switch into Wellspring if you Encore locked me into an Ice type move. Oh, they actually went Ogerpon. Okay, that works for me. Unfortunately, I do get redirected into the Ogerpon, which isn't too bad, but I think we could go into Zacian here, and I'm gonna go for a Pollen Puff into the Ogerpon for Chip because they probably aren't gonna Terra here. It could Ivy Cudgel my Zacian, which would be a good play. If I could get rid of this Ogerpon, my Kyogre kind of thrives in clicking Origin Pulse against my opponent's team, so I would love that. So we'll see. We're gonna bring out our Zacian and hopefully the Grass type attack. Energy Ball. Was not expecting the Grass move from the Whimsicott, but I'll take it. Is Horn Leech. Okay, very nice. Zacian comes in for free. I do get free Pollen Puff damage into the Ogerpon as well, which is pretty decent here. Yeah, that's pretty nice damage. And now I can go for Protect with my Zacian to stall out a Tailwind turn. This is the last turn of Tailwind, and I'm going to go for a Pollen Puff into the Whimsicott. Foul Play is technically better to cover switches because it would do more damage to Zacian, but if I reveal Foul Play, I probably reveal I don't have Protect, and I want to play that mind game with them. The Zacian's going to come out on their side, which is fine. I'm kind of curious. It's probably, that means it's Draco Meteor Electro Drift as the moves on this, on the what's it called? The Miraidon. So they can only go for Draco Meteors later on. A bit of chip in his Zacian is always appreciated. +1 Sacred Sword might KO the Ogerpon. Might. Play Rough is guaranteed safe KO Ogerpon, but I can miss. I think it's still worth it. I'm gonna Rage Powder and Play Rough. I don't know if they follow me or not. It looks like they're not clicking follow me. I do get the Rage Powder. I think I might live one Behemoth Blade depending on their spread. Yeah, I do. Okay, nice. They take Rocky Helmet damage, which is important. And I do land to Play Rough into Ogerpon, so that's massive. The fact that I'm going to be able to KO the Ogerpon here is great. Now I can threaten like Rage Powder Behemoth Blade into the Zacian slot, which is awesome. Electric Terrain disappears from the battlefield as well. They still have their Terra, which concerns me, but otherwise, like, I built up a good amount of damage in their team. I got rid of the Ogerpon, which was the biggest annoyance to Kyogre sweeping. Pikachu's healthy, which means it has a Sash, so I'd definitely be able to take on the Miraidon at least. And Miraidon's actually going to come in. Okay. I don't think you have a spread move, though, so I'm kind of curious on what they're going to try to do. My Zacian's max speed, so I could just go for a Behemoth Blade here. Or not max speed, but it's pretty fast. But I think the play is just a double protect. Well, I can't double protect. I think I have to commit. I don't think you have a spread move unless you have discharge for some reason on your team. I'm just gonna Behemoth Blade Rage Powder. If I lose Zacian, I don't think it's too bad. I really don't. You're gonna Terra to Miraidon to get rid of the play rough weakness. Are you actually a spread move? Okay. Rage Powder, no protect, so I think this is still an okay trade-off. Because they go for Behemoth Blade to take the knockout onto my Amoonguss, so Amoonguss goes down. And then I take the knockout into their Zacian in response. I have a Solvus Kyogre, so I definitely eat the attacks. I feel like I'm good here. Because they Electro Drift, it's gonna bring me down to, well, a knockout, but it's Whimsicott with 1 HP plus the Miraidon, and assuming, well, we don't know the last move on Whims. We saw Tailwind, we saw Encore, and we saw Energy Ball. I don't think we ever saw Moonblast, so Endeavor could be a thing. If it's Endeavor, that's actually pretty bad. But I feel like if they had Endeavor, they would have clicked it earlier, right? There's no reason to click Energy Ball that one turn. So I guess we'll find out. You got the Kyogre. Since the Terra on Pikachu doesn't change anything in this, and the extra damage on Kyogre does, we'll go for a Terra Water here with a Fake Out into the Miraidon and the Terra Water Water Spout. Actually, no, I think I Fake Out the Whims and go for Terra Water Water Spout. The logic for Fake Out the Whims is because if they Energy Ball my Pikachu, then I lose my Sash because of that play. If Miraidon protects, then they can do damage. Okay, we don't see any protect, so I think we're in good shape to win. Is Dazzling Gleam? Did they just not have Draco Meteor? No, they did not respect the Electro Drift from the Pikachu. Okay, no, I just guarantee win because Water Spout should have just KO'd a Miraidon. I'm just surprised because if they have Terra Fairy, maybe it's just the defensive typing because they don't have Dazzling Gleam. I'm like pretty confident it was Draco Meteor as the last move. That's why I was like going for the Fake on the Whims, because I assumed at that point the Whimsicott probably didn't have Protect. So if they didn't have Protect on Whimsicott, I get the Fake Out into the Whimsicott. I pretty much assumed Miraidon just was forced to protect it, because if I Fake Out into like an Origin Pulse, I think I just do too much damage in the end. So I was thinking, okay, Miraidon probably protects. Whimsicott might not have Protect, and that puts me in a really good spot. If they both protect, that's fine, because Kyogre should still be able to win the end game because they have to focus on doubling down my Pikachu because I have Focus Sash. But yeah, that's just not how it played out. Okay, I'll take it. What am I looking at here? Miraidon, Calyrex, Ice Rider. That is a Urshifu, Oranguru, Flamigo, and Rabasca. Okay. Don't even know what to say here. I don't even know what to say. I think I always just... Well, they have a really rough Zacian matchup. Zacian's pretty good. I like Pikachu. I like Zacian. Kyogre, of course. What's the last mon? And Amoonguss? Probably. It could be Grim as well. Grim could be okay as well. I think I'd probably go with Amoonguss, because I can redirect Instructs, which would be pretty massive. And it's good into Water Ursh if it is Water Ursh. So I think I always bring it. Let's see. I think that this is the best we can bring here, but we'll find out. Gonna be the lead of Calyrex plus the Rabasca. Okay. So I would probably just be okay with drawing off attacks into the Rabasca slot. Yeah, I don't think the Kali Ice can threaten too much when I have Focus Sash on my Pikachu, and I do have my Zacian out on the field. I think I'm just going to go for a fake out into the Rabasca, and I'm just going to go for a Behemoth Blade. Now, I'm a bit concerned about what item the Rabasca is, if it's Covert Cloak or not, but I guess we'll have to find out together. We see a Terra immediately, which is probably the Calyx Ice Rider, and I'm assuming they're attacking if that's the case. Yep. Terra Ghost. Okay, so that's fine. Doesn't really change anything on my... Well, it means I can Endeavor it, which is actually kind of big, but like otherwise, fake out into Rabasca. Not Rocky Helmet. I do get a Behemoth Blade off. Probably doesn't KO. Oh, Zacian would have KO'd. I do get the flinch on it, and Trick Room comes out. Okay. So Trick Room coming out obviously isn't super ideal, but I don't think this is awful. Trying to think of what the play is here. Are they going to Glacial is the question. I'm kind of curious. I think I'm just going to go for Nuzzle into... Do I Nuzzle to Rabasca? I don't think I do. It could be Ally Switch here, I suppose. If it's Ally Switch, that's kind of annoying. It might be better to go Kyogre and just eat up the damage that I fake out pressure for later. And I'm just going to Behemoth Blade the Rabasca. They swap out. Oh, I was hoping that it would stay in. Oranguru? No, Ursh. Oh, if I play route, this would have been better. Oh, it's Dark Ursh. Okay, that helps. That does help, actually. Okay. Because we bring out the Kyogre in case they Glacial, but probably high horsepower here. But either way, it's fine. Is that Substitute? Okay. As we get Behemoth Blade off into the Ursh. And we get a critical hit, so we KO. But it wasn't Sash. Where's the Sash on this team? Is Rabasca coming back in? Or is Miraidon coming in? Probably Miraidon, I assume. That is Miraidon. No, that's Rabasca. Okay. Are they going to Revival Blessing? I'm okay with just going for Origin Pulse Behemoth Blade, because if I get the damage into the Kali Ice, I put it into range of Foul Play. So I am perfectly okay with going for Water Spout plus Behemoth Blade and taking a double knockout here. They do Revival Blessing. Okay, perfect. Oh, they only have one target. Yep, Urshifu is revived again. They high horsepower the Kyogre, I guess, for more damage to weaken the Water Spout. But I'm pretty sure Water Spout's still breaking the sub, and then I get the Behemoth Blade off. So I think this is still pretty good for me, because Urshifu can only KO one Mon with Kali Ice. Unless they crit me. Because I think the only way they can take a double knockout is Urshifu Wicked Blows my Kyogre, and then they go for high horsepower crit into my Zacian. You get the Behemoth Blade off. Good damage. I don't see a reason not to just throw off attacks realistically. What turn of the Trick Room? Okay. I think we just double up the Urshifu. As high horsepower comes out, yep, I am able to survive one. They go for Wicked Blow and the Kyogre, so this is in range of what I expected. It was either Wicked Blow and the Kyogre plus Glacial or high horsepower, and I'm fine with both of those. So we will get a Behemoth Blade off into the Urshifu to take the knockout. Perfect. And now we bring out a Mungus. And we threaten Foul Play because we underspeed the Kali Ice, and we can Foul Play the Kali Ice before it can move. We're going to see the Miraidon come in, and substitute Kali Ice with Trick Room shouldn't have Protects. It should have Glacial high horsepower. So I should be safe here. We're going to Foul Play the Kali Ice. We're going to protect our Zacian. And then I think we seal the game. I'm kind of curious on what the Miraidon can do to hit the Zacian, because that's going to be kind of a big factor. I think we're pretty safe on what we can do damage wise because they can't Terra. I wonder if it's Scarf Miraidon, but if it's Scarf Miraidon, we should be fine. Yeah, foul play going to come out from the Amoonguss to take the knockout into the Cali Ice. So the Cali Ice is going to go down. Kind of nice to have foul play on the Amoonguss to actually threaten damage into like Cali Ice instead of playing defensive against it. Discharge. Okay. Good to confirm. Oh, it's Life Orb too. I mean, Zacian wins if we land a play rough. I mean, I think my best play is to just switch out the Amoonguss to go Pikachu. But here's the thing, if I miss play rough, I'm worried I actually don't have enough damage output to deal with the Miraidon in the end game. I think I'm gonna go for Terrifying Sacred Sword because that should work here. I think, yeah, because I think with Terrifying Sacred Sword damage plus the Life Orb chipping away to Miraidon, I think I guarantee to win, but we'll see. Now I mean, if they Terra Fairy, that's fine, I think. Oh no, wait, no, they can't have Terra Fairy because they terraed the Cali Ice. I was trying to think of like, is there any scenario that they could do anything here to change this position? I don't think so. Terrifying Sacred Sword should do a good amount of damage. Yep, we should be good. Yeah, because you go for Discharge. They're going to get the KO into the Zacian, but Pikachu is immune to the attack. If they live the Life Orb hit, I click Fake Out the next turn and do whatever I want. Pikachu still has the Sash, can go for Nuzzle to clean up the Miraidon. They also had to have multiple hits of Life Orb. So yeah, I was just in a good position. If they were Specs, it could have been interesting, but I still think I'd be able to win the end game regardless. They didn't really have much that could be able to break through the Pikachu in the end game, unironically. All right, we have Lunala, Incineroar, Miraidon, Urshifu, Grimmsnarl, Ursaluna. All right, this is either the, I don't know, because they keep changing this team between Specs and Assault Vest. Of course, this is the team that won the first regional championship of Reg I, and that was with Assault Vest Miraidon. But I've seen changes like this become like choice specs on the Miraidon, so a lot of this is just going to be kind of mind games here. Pikachu, Kyogre seems like a pretty good option as a lead because I'm fast Kyogre that should be able to threaten the Urshifu that's choice band on this team of Thunder, which is actually massive here. Although I am leading Pikachu, which means I can't Thunder the Ursh. I have to Water Spout, but I think that's probably still all right. Do I bring a Amoonguss or do I bring, I mean, I'm definitely bringing Zacian. I'm curious, do you do something, Moltres? Maybe. I could also do Grim stuff too. I don't think Grim is decent. I mean, it's tough. I think I go with Moltres. I think I do. I think this Grim is just such a weird set where I don't know where I'd bring it because a lot of the teams, I don't think it's worth tricking like a Power Bracer here. And I don't need the speed control that the Grim offers. We're going to see Incineroar plus the... okay, we see Incineroar plus the Urshifu. Now, there are two options that could come out here. One is that they go for a Fake Out into the Kyogre plus a Terra Ghost from the Urshifu to avoid a Fake Out from my Pikachu. So I do have a counterplay of going for the upper hand here into the Incineroar and just launching a Water Spout because I'm fast Kyogre, and unless they're jolly max speed Ursh, my Kyogre outspeeds. So I'm kind of tempted to just go for the Water Spout and go for the upper hand. And I think I will. Okay, they didn't Terra, so that's unfortunate. I could have faked out plus Water Spout, and I lose my Rocky Helmet. So this could go badly, but I will get a Water Spout at least into the Incineroar, and I do so much damage to Ursh, so this isn't like a terrible outcome here, depending on what they click here. Ideally, if they target the Kyogre, is actually really good for me, but we'll see. He starting strikes the Kyogre. That's massive. Okay. It's going to come down to what the Miraidon set is. It's really going to come down to what set the Miraidon is. Oh, wait, Lunala came in. Did they not bring the Miraidon? Maybe. I mean, my best play here is just to Thunder the Urshifu and swap out Pikachu. I could Nuzzle and Origin Pulse, but that does lose to Wide Guard. So I think Moltres is the play here. This better not be Ursaluna. It might be Miraidon though. I can see Miraidon making sense here. It is Miraidon, okay. What did the Lunala click then? They get the Electric Seed. Okay, so there's no Ursaluna that I have to worry about, which is good for my... Ooh, they commit their Terra, which means they're weak to my Zacian now. Okay. And they don't have a switch for Play Rough. Interesting. All right, we see the Terra. As we get a Thunder off into the Miraidon slot. Did they Moonblast my Moltres? They did, to cover for the Pikachu slot. Okay. Oh, they target my Kyogre. That's really good for me. Okay. We like this spot. Because what stops my Zacian from coming in and clicking Play Rough here? Nothing. Nothing stops that. So we're going to go into Zacian. As long as this isn't Scarf Miraidon for some reason. We'll Play Rough the slot. And my Moltres, how fast are you? You're not fast, which is good to deal with the Ursh. We're going to Terra Steel and go for a Hurricane into the Lunala. All right, no switches, so if the Play Rough connects, I just instant win, I think. The only way this could go a bit poorly is protect Miraidon here. Or if they are actually Scarf, but they have to fear Pikachu too. Switching in. All right, I do get the Play Rough KO into Miraidon. That's massive, so Miraidon goes down, and we do get the Hurricane off into the Lunala slot. And the confusion. So let's see if the Lunala is able to attack, because if it isn't, it just loses the game instantly. Yep. I don't know if it went for Trick Room. If it went for Trick Room, I think the play is to sack the Pikachu and go for the Hurricane. It depends on the Ursh speed, because I have no idea how fast the Ursh is going to be here. Because I could go for a Hurricane. I could go for 2 attacks. The thing is, they can only KO the Galarian Moltres with the Ursh, but they have to focus on the Zacian as well. So I think it would have been a mind game there at worst case. And if they attacked with the Lunala, they just guaranteed loss. Now I go for a Sacred Sword to KO the Ursh, and I go for Hurricane as well. Yeah, Sacred Sword is enough to KO the Ursh, so Ursh goes down. We get the Hurricane off into the Lunala, and yeah, now it's sealed because we can go for Behemoth Blade Hurricane the next turns. Good damage to Lunala. This Lunala is very, very confused, but very nice. Hurricane, Behemoth Blade. We will take it as the battle is going to be forfeited. So beautiful, beautiful. Able to take a, not the greatest turn 1, but a pretty decent start. I got a lot of damage. I did lose my Sash on Pikachu, which did kind of stink. But it wasn't necessary because the Lunala came out afterward. And because Lunala came out, I did have a bit of pressure. The fact that they Terra'd the Lunala made it easier because I didn't have to play a Terra Mind game with the Miraidon. And it worked out pretty well, I think. Zamazenta, Kyogre, Urshifu, Iron Bundle, Ludicolo, Tornadus. This is a very fast-paced rain team. Unfortunately, I don't have Trick Room, which would be really good here. Although a Solvest Kyogre is really good against their team, other than their Zamazenta. Their Zamazenta is really annoying. I do like... I think it's Pikachu. I think it's Kyogre. Galarian Moltres is tempting because of the Ludicolo, but I'm pretty sure it's just Zacian and Mungus. Grim doesn't do anything here. Yeah, it just doesn't do anything here, unfortunately. So I think that's the 4. Amoonguss is good to cover for the Ursh. Pikachu has the Fake Out support, which actually is decently valuable. The Zamazenta is the biggest threat alongside Ursh, I think. I think that's why I'm bringing Amoonguss to help out against those Pokemon specifically. But otherwise, yeah, we try to get knockouts on the threats to Amoonguss, like a Daily Torn. I try to blow it up immediately, and we'll see how the rest goes. So it's funny, they have a Pikachu trainer card. They're fighting a Pikachu. Iron Bundle plus Ludicolo. Okay. Versus Pikachu and the Kyogre. Obviously, not a great lead. They counteracted the Kyogre, which is very fair. Okay, Booster Energy is confirmed on the Iron Bundle. I think my best play is just to go Amoonguss here and click Thunder into the Iron Bundle, because water moves are not doing much to Ludicolo anyway, so not that big of a deal. The only annoying part is this Kyogre doesn't have Terra Grass. If I had Terra Grass, I'd be like, okay, I don't really care about the Ludicolo. Unfortunately, we have to worry about Ludicolo damage because I think I'm only really worried if they have Grass Knot. Grass Knot would actually do a ton of damage to the Kyogre, so something I'm gonna have to keep in mind. But this could be Fake Out Freeze Dry. This could be double up here with attacks. They could target the Pikachu if they're scared of what Pikachu does. If they expect like Protect from Kyogre and my Pikachu to go for like Nuzzle or something. So I don't know. We'll figure it out. But I am going Amoonguss, which seems to be the safest play, I'd imagine. See a Terra come out immediately. All right, what is Terraing in this position? The Iron Bundle on the Ghost type. I guess they were gonna, I guess, to cover for Protect from Pikachu or from Fake Out. Weakness policy Ludicolo. That's a new one. That is a new one. What's coming in though? Nothing takes this Thunder well. I mean, ideally it's Kyogre, but that's an interesting tech. I haven't seen those weakness policy strats since like really early Gen 9 stuff. They do bring in the Kyogre, so I do like getting this Thunder damage into Kyogre. Energy Ball. I'm a Assault Vest, so this is not going to KO. Still does a lot, but we're good there. And we do get the Thunder off. Okay, beautiful. Good damage into the Kyogre. It's a Assault Vest Kyogre. All right. Gonna go for a Foul. I think Foul Play does more than Pollen Puff because of the attack boost and Ludicolo having weaker physical defense. I think I have to double up the Ludicolo if I'm not mistaken, so that's what we're gonna do. At least they don't have access to Terra. I have no idea if they can knock out the Amoonguss. It depends on their coverage. I imagine they have Ice Beam. They go for the Kyogre anyway, so that's fine. All right, Kyogre goes down. What's the Kyogre on their side doing? Ice Beam, we'll tank it fine. That did a lot. Foul Play doesn't do as much as I was hoping. Are we losing to this? I think we are. I was hoping Foul Play KO'd. It might be possible, but it's still really unlikely, I think. Bring out the Zacian. I'm gonna go on a Pikachu. Gonna click Protect on my Zacian. We'll see how the rest of it performs, I guess. because I'm hoping I can get a fake out off into the Ludicolo, play rough, KO to Kyogre potentially. Yeah, this is not as easy. Also, I'm curious because I feel like Ice Beam shouldn't have done that much damage to Amoonguss, but also the fact that they took the Thunder so well. Oh, that's a good catch on their protect. Okay. Okay, that worked out really well for me. Because Zacian will protect. Okay, maybe I have a chance. Pikachu hangs on. Focus Sash. Alright. We're going to fake out the Ludicolo. There's only 2 turns of rain left, so I can go for a play rough into the Kyogre here. I think it's just going to come down to... Okay, they didn't switch out Kyogre, which is massive. So fake out damage. That's actually good damage in the Ludicolo, unironically. Play rough does come out into the Kyogre, so Kyogre goes down. Great. All right, we have a chance, I think. This Ludicolo is a slow Pokemon. This is Iron Bundle coming in. I think it just depends on it. Amoonguss lives and attack. Iron Bundle comes in. I feel like Iron Bundle lives a Behemoth Blade. That's the bad part. If it lives Behemoth Blade, we're in a really rough spot. I am going to attempt to nuzzle the Iron Bundle and protect my Zacian. Stall out this last turn of rain because Ludicolo currently has a Swift Swim. This is probably a water move in a Zacian to freeze dry. If they double up my Zacian, it's amazing, but I have no clue. Weather Ball. It should be freeze dry. Yep. Okay. This is gonna be super tricky end one. Rain is over. We go out into our Amoonguss. I don't think we live a freeze dry at this range, unfortunately. It's Weather Ball. That means, do I even have to fear the Ludicolo? Not really. Problem is my Terra War doesn't help me live the freeze dry. I think we go for a double up into... I think I gotta hope that either Behemoth Blade just KOs or we crit the Iron Bundle. But let's see. Behemoth Blade gonna come out into the Iron Bundle. It lives. Freeze dry into Amoonguss. Okay, maybe if the Ludicolo can't do any damage to Zacian. It's Weather Ball. It has Surf. They crit their own Iron Bundle. Oh, if it's Surf, that's so bad. Oh, it's Urshback. It wasn't Zama. Was it? Is it Sash Ursh? I mean, I lose anyway. Do I? No, I guarantee lose here because they Surging Strike Surf and I can't protect. If I had Terra Water or something, then I could play around it, but no. If you are not Sash or Scarf, you're crazy. It is Scarf. Okay, yeah. So like I was guaranteed losing here. I had nothing that could change his position, unfortunately. Yeah, unfortunately lost to Ludicolo. The weakness policy. I didn't really have anything. I had no tools. I had no tools to beat this because I had no freeze dry switch in after taking a lot. And yeah, like I'm trying to debate, like there was really nothing that could change other than I guess I could Spore attempt a Kyogre so I could build up turns, but even if I do, I don't think it's that great. Scarfresh was cleaning me up in the end game anyway. Grim maybe, but I don't think it was overall because I had to worry about damage from 2 powerful Pokemon and Kyogre and the Ludicolo on that turn. I just don't think so. Koraidon, Calyx, Shadow Rider, the Raging Bolt, Brute Bonnet, Yvesangelist, and Chi-Yu. Okay, this is a pretty standard team. It negates a lot of abilities, which this is going to be really tough, actually. This is pretty tough. Because dealing with Koraidon Wheezing is very, very difficult. I guess I could lead Amoonguss, which isn't bad here. Which stinks because I think the combination that I have is Amoonguss Zacian for the most consistent ways around this. With Kyogre plus the Pikachu. If I'm bringing Pikachu, I have to have Kyogre. Well, I need Kyogre. And then we're bringing Pikachu because we're bringing Pikachu. So otherwise, I'd probably bring Galarian Moltres just because of the fact that it's a better Shadow Rider answer. But we'll see. Oh, they let Shadow Rider Wheezing. Okay. Kind of curious on who they're going to target. Because you have to be fearful of Wheezing taking a Behemoth Blade. And me going for a Spore and a Cali. You probably live one Behemoth Blade at neutral with the Shadow Rider into Pollen Puff, so I feel like the best play for them is to probably just go for a Astral plus a Protective Wheezing. That's what I assume. They could Terra the Wheezing. I don't think that's as likely, but I think I'm going to go for a Behemoth Blade plus Foul Play here into the Cali. We do see a Terra, so this might be the Wheezing, but this might still be all right. No, it is the Shadow Rider into Ghost. Are they going just straight for the Astros? I mean, I don't think that's KOing. But unless they're really offensive with the Shadow Rider. Are they specs? I think they're specs. And I think I'm getting blown up with my Zacian, aren't I? Oh, that's not the case. Okay, I do get the Behemoth Blade off. They went for the taunt, fearing the Rage Powder. Yep, okay. And I do get the Foul Play off into the Calyx. So Calyx goes down. Yeah, that that worked out well for me. I was like, oh, they changed it to specs. Usually they're like Ghost Plate or sometimes Focus Sash. But I mean, that worked out. That worked out unironically. All right, Koraidon coming in. They Terra it, so they can't KO with Play Rough anymore. We do confirm the Ability Shield. My best play is to switch out the Amoonguss to go out into Pikachu and click Play Rough, I think, into the Koraidon. Because they are playing a mind game right now of who I'm going to target. I could Behemoth Blade or I could Play Rough. I mean, Play Rough is more likely because the Koraidon has more offensive pressure. But the Wheezing can't do anything to Zacian unless it has Will-O-Wisp. They don't usually run Will-O-Wisp. And it looks like I will be getting the KO into Koraidon with Play Rough. So, okay. Goodbye, Koraidon. Excellent. That's the restricteds both down. As a strange steam, what was my Amoonguss? Pikachu takes a critical hit. Brought down to the Focus Sash. But do we get confused? Nope. Okay, good. And what the last Pokemon is? It is the Raging Bolt. Okay, I feel pretty good about our end game. Because we can go for Fake Out into the Raging Bolt, and we can go for Behemoth Blade into the Wheezing. No protects from the Wheezing. I guess they are worried about like Play Rough into the Raging Bolt, so that makes sense. But now I do get the KO onto Wheezing, which is beautiful. And Zacian has been dominating this match, which I wasn't expecting to. Gets a +1 even. Yeah. We got a KO every turn. We got a KO every turn. We can go for Endeavor here into a Protect. Secure it. Because if we do that, then we can go for a... They are... I don't know if they're giving me that. I'll take it. Here's an Endeavor. And yep. Now we guarantee the win with Sacred Sword plus Nuzzle. I cannot believe. I mean, turn one, I technically got wrong. I thought it was a mind game. I'm really surprised they let their wheezing go like that, because if I click Behemoth Bat, or if I go for Behemoth Blade into the wheezing, I KO the wheezing. They didn't KO my Mungus. I get the spore off. I think they just instant lose on that turn. So I'm very curious on how that ended up working out. But it did. I thought they were going to either tear the wheezing or like protect the wheezing at the very least. But nope. They went aggressive. Did not work out. All right. We have Miraidon, Iron Hands, Farigiraf, Xianpao, Rayquaza, and Volcarona. This looks like the team that we featured on the channel with Zacian, but they have a Miraidon instead. All right. It's probably Electric Seed, Farigiraf changed in. It's pretty interesting. Pikachu is really good here against the electric types, of course, being able to draw away those attacks. We do have problems with Rayquaza, though. Rayquaza is going to be a tough one. Volcarona also going to be a bit of a tricky mon. Do I want to bring the Galarian Moltres? Probably not. It doesn't really do that much. It's probably a combination of Pikachu. Is it Pikachu Zacian, or is it Pikachu plus Kyogre? I kind of like Pikachu plus Kyogre. It's not good in the PAL. That's my only issue. I think it's probably worth it though. Mungus and back and Zacian. Because we could always switch into Draco Meteor, which isn't too bad from the Miraidon. I'm kind of curious if this is going to be a Terra Fairy Dazzling Gleam set. That could be scary. We'll figure it out as we play along. We're going to see Iron Hands or Quasar lead. Okay. Versus my Pikachu and Kyogre combination. I think we wall Iron Hands if I'm not mistaken. I think we do wall Iron Hands if we Terra Ghost, unless they have Heavy Slam on this build. I think my best play is unironically just go for a... Well, we have a few plays. We could upper hand the Iron Hands and Ice Beam to Rayquaza. I could see them trying to switch in Volcarona. Be cheeky with the Flame Body and the Rocky Helmet. I kind of like the idea of going for my Terra Ghost here. I think I'm going to go for Terra Ghost upper hand. Do I upper hand here, or do I just fake out? You know what? No. I'm going to fake out the Iron Hands and I'm going to Ice Beam the Rayquaza. Let's see if this works, because I have no idea if they Terra or not. There's a lot that could go on this turn, let me just say. We do get the Terra Ghost here with Pikachu. No Terras on their side, so I do get a fake out into the Iron Hands. This isn't Scale Shot, right? Okay, it's Rayquaza's taking the Ice Beam. Rayquaza just went down. Beautiful. Beautiful. Fast Kyogre putting in work there, because we were faster than that Rayquaza. So that is massive. We have a huge turn of momentum. Xianpao going to come in. Yeah, I feel pretty good about this spot. I think a Mungus is always my play here. I'm going to go for a Nuzzle into the Xianpao slot, and I'm going to go into a Mungus. A Mungus should be pretty safe here. I don't think they're clicking Ice Move into Kyogre. If I get the Nuzzle off into Xianpao, like, that is absolutely huge. And I would like to threaten a Spore into Iron Hands if possible, but we'll see. Bring out the Mungus. They crash the Pikachu, going for the flinch. Makes sense. All right, can we get the Nuzzle? Nice. That's a huge Nuzzle into the POW. All right, beautiful. Beautiful. Rain Punch going to come out to Mungus, and Mungus is able to hang on pretty comfortably. And now we can go for a Rage Powder into an Endeavor. Yeah, and I think that works out pretty well here. So I'm going to Endeavor the Iron Hands. I'm going to Rage Powder with a Mungus. I'm pretty sure with Drain Punch confirmed on the Iron Hands, it's most likely Wall Charge Low Kicks. So should always just be a free Endeavor into that Iron Hand slot. And then we can bring in our Kyogre, and then we can click Upper Hand Water Spout afterward. And I feel pretty good about our position as we get the Endeavor off into Iron Hands. As the Crash going to come out into the Amoonguss. Amoonguss going to go down. But Let's see if Iron Hands has an attack. Can you knock out the Pikachu? Oh. Exactly. Perfect. Go on a Kyogre, upper hand, water spout, and I'm feeling pretty good. About our end game. I could go for an Endeavor to cover, but I think I'm just gonna upper hand to prevent a Sucker Punch, because this might be try to switch in Miraidon. They go for Protect with the POW, which makes sense here, but I'm feeling pretty good because I do get the water spout off into the Iron Hands, and I feel pretty good. Goodbye, Iron Hands. And now it's Miraidon back, and I'm feeling pretty dang good about this position. I guess it could get a bit scary. Oh, it's Volcarona. Yeah, because there's a Zacian. I'm kind of surprised they didn't bring the Miraidon, but I think we're in very good shape here. I'm going to upper hand a POW again and Water Spout. The reason I'm going to upper hand is I think Sucker Punch is more threatening. They're probably going to Sucker Punch the Pikachu anyway, because I think you always want to prevent an Endeavor going off into Volcarona. We see a Terra Dragon, so they kind of just lose to Zacian at this point anyway. Unless they're Quiver Dance. If they're Quiver Dance, if they change that to be Quiver Dance on the Volcarona, it could be scary. They're going for the double Protect. Ooh, that's an aggressive read. Okay. As we fail the upper hand. Are you Quiver? If it's Quiver, this is actually a reverse sweep, I think. Or not reverse sweep, but we're definitely in a more dangerous position. We get good damage to the Volcarona. Okay, Struggle Bug is fine. All right. Struggle Bug is fine, because we should still seal the win anyway, because we have Zacian and we click Behemoth Blade and the Volcarona is gone. So Terra goes Pikachu. Really nice here. Really nice. There's no Miraidon, but the hands couldn't do anything against it, and it did allow me to get some pretty nice momentum. We do get to the boost from the Zacian coming in. We get to go for Behemoth Blade because we can never miss, and then we go for Water Spout. If they decide to protect Volcarona, go for Sucker. Doesn't change anything. They get paralyzed. That could have been Protect or Sucker, either one, but like at the end of the day, they didn't have a way to stop the Zacian from KOing the Volcarona. And even if they went for Sucker Punch or something, like, it probably was not going to change the impact of this game. As that is a RH quit. I mean, they were hoping that I messed up, but like, yeah. And that is Pikachu for you. It's actually good into the Iron Hands Miraidon combo, specifically the Miraidon Iron Hands. I just don't think they were expecting the fast Ice Beam from the Kyogre, but yeah, this Kyogre is very fast. Got the Ice Beam. That's what they get for risking the Rayquaza in the first place. Maybe they were expecting Water Spout, but they got heavily punished. All right, we have Torterra, Miraidon, Volcarona, a Klefki, Iron Hands, and the Calyx Ice Rider. Torterra. Probably, we did see actually Torterra get a day 2 performance at the Bologna special event. And it was Electric Seed with no Wide Guard. So I'm kind of curious if this one would have Wide Guard. It makes sense. I think it was Leech Seed, just Electric Seed. So that could be interesting here. But I do have the Kyogre with Ice Beam that can threaten it. So that's pretty good. I am bringing my Pikachu for sure. Combination, do I bring Pikachu plus Kyogre or Pikachu plus Zacian? Zacian's really good offensively here. I think it's just Pikachu. I think it's Kyogre. I think it's Zacian. And I think it's either Moltres or Mungus. Both aren't bad here. I'm leaning towards a Mungus because it allows me to pressure more under the Trick Room, which I think is probably pretty good here. So we'll see what my opponent decides to bring. I'm assuming the Cali Ice is going to start off. Maybe Cali Ice, Iron Hands, for example. We're going to see Miraidon Cali Ice, which is not what I expected, but okay. Versus the Kyogre plus the Pikachu. Alright. I have Assault Vest on the Kyogre, so I do tank a Draco Meteor or Dazzling Gleam. As one is going to activate. Not that big of a deal. The Electric Terrain. We don't know anything about the item on the Miraidon from this interaction. I think Fake Out the Cali Ice is pretty safe. I think we fake out and we go for a Origin Pulse. See a Terra immediately, so I'm kind of curious on where the Terra is coming from. Cali Ice into water. Okay, I have electric terrain boosted thunder, so that's pretty okay for me. I do get the fake out off into the Cali. Draco Meteor gonna come out, but I do tank one. Did a lot of damage, but I do tank one. I miss the Calyrex, unfortunate. Get some pretty good HP though. Alright. Not a great start to the game, but playable. It has definitely specs on the Miraidon. I'm gonna go for the Endeavor into the Calyrex, I suppose, and I'm just gonna go out into Zacian. Yeah. Because I would like damage on the Cali. Maybe I could have went for a Nuzzle, but I don't know if I want the Calyrex Ice to go for Trick Room and then be faster than my Amoonguss, so I think I go for the Endeavor. We're gonna see the Calyrex retreat, so this is actually really good. All right, what's coming in? Lefty. Okay, it can't get Thunder Wave me. It can reflect though. Does Draco Meteor attempt again? Okay, perfect. And we do Endeavor to Klefki. And we take a pretty decent chunk out of it. Okay. So I like the idea of just going for an Endeavor and a Miraidon plus a Play Rough. Because it does chip away at anything that can come in. I don't know if you brought Volcarona here. Maybe Torterra, but we'll see. I like the idea of Play Rough going for coverage here. But maybe Endeavor wasn't the right play. We do see Miraidon retreat, so this is probably Cali Ice. Maybe I should have went for Nuzzle. Oh, Torterra is the last. Okay. That body press is going to hurt. Did Klefki go for an attack or did he go for Scream? Probably Reflect here. Makes sense. Yeah. Okay. As we go for the Reflect, or we go for the Endeavor. I mean, that's good damage to Torterra. I'm going to probably target down my Zacian because my Zacian is the biggest threat to you. I think I'm going to just go out into Kyogre to threaten the Ice Beam into the Torterra. But let's see if they actually go for like a Leech Seed or a Headlong Rush. I'm curious. Steel Beam. Okay. Hey, Wood Hammer. Okay, good coverage on their part. I mean, I do lose my Kyogre, which does stink, but I think this is all right. We do take recoil. Trying to think about how I want this endgame to work. I think it's always Pikachu. And we go for... I think Nuzzle KO's Klefki. I might be wrong, but I think Nuzzle KO's Klefki. I think we Terra Fighting in Sacred Sword. I don't know if Sacred Sword will get it, but if it does, that's an incredible spot for us. But we'll see. I don't know who they're targeting between my Pikachu and my Zacian. But we'll figure it out, I guess. I think Terra Fighting is fine for an endgame scenario. Torterra protects, actually. That's actually really good for me. Okay. I do go for the attack into the Torterra. I do get the KO into Klefki. The Nuzzle. Oh, it hangs on. But that might work out in my favor, actually, because I might get a stronger Endeavor off that. They Steel Beam my Zacian, no. That actually did a decent chunk. That actually did a decent chunk. Okay. That's really bad. That's really bad. Electric Train disappears. I might still be able to win this endgame, but like that is a lot worse than I was hoping for. Alex in. I think that because the Torterra has reflect up, I think it lives this. Does it live Sacred Sword? I'm just curious if it does. Problem is this Glacial coming out. I think I have to read if they're going to go for Trick Room or not, because I think that's the big part. If they go for Trick Room, I have to make a big read here. I'm going to go for Protect Nuzzle and hope they don't Trick Room. And if they do Trick Room, maybe I should just Sacred Sworded and hope for the para. Because if they Glacial my Pikachu, I think I'm in a good spot, but we'll see. They would hammer my Pikachu. Okay. Pikachu hangs on. You take a bunch of recoil. Okay, there is a paralysis, which is a big paralysis. Oh, this endgame is going to be close, man. This endgame is going to be close. The leftovers recovery. I go for the Endeavor here into the Cali. My Sacred Sword. I'm pretty sure Zacian goes down to Glacial. Oh, is my best out a double protect or is it a paralysis? Or I think we Sacred Sword the Torterra and Endeavor. I don't really like how I set this up. Oh, wait, they did get parried. Wait. Sacred Sword better KO Torterra. It better KO Torterra. It does. It KOs to Reflect. We're not out of the woods yet, but that is a huge start. Also, they protected the Cali. Actually, because they protected Cali, I don't think this changed the endgame, actually. Because the fact that they protected Cali meant that I go for the Endeavor into the Cali Ice, right? And if it protected, I'm still going to go for my same play here, a play roughing the Miraidon Endeavor. And then even if they Glacial, I'm pretty sure Foul Play Amoonguss will outspeed the Cali and KO. I guess it depends on if the Cali's faster than the Amoonguss or not. I mean, my play is always to Nuzzle and play rough. And we gotta hit this play rough, so send it, Zacian. Send us. Pikachu has done so much work. Send us off with a victory. One last play rough. Play with this Miraidon one last time. Okay. And we KO the Miraidon. I think that guarantee seals us the win because I'm pretty sure the Nuzzle in electric terrain KOs the Cali. I guess there's Reflect, but come on. Come on. Pikachu KO'd the Cali Ice. Okay. I think that endgame was definitely messed up because the slow Endeavor is just such a strange position. I guess Nuzzle is that kind of move though to help us out, and we kind of needed it in that spot. Because they did double up my Pikachu, which ended up making us a huge trouble. I think the Terra fighting game plan wasn't as good as I wanted. I also was not expecting the Klefki to survive that turn because the Klefki got damaged that I was not anticipating. I was really hoping that Nuzzle just finished off the Klefki, but I guess with Reflect, it does make sense. It lives in that range. So the play was not to attack the Klefki slot with the Pikachu. It was to target down the Klefki with a Sacred Sword, I think, get Chip, not Terra, so I could save Terra Water Moongus gameplay. But Pikachu came clutch. What can I say? All right, let's go to games. In game one, tough matchup, but was able to eliminate the Wellspring Ogremon quickly, and then the Zacian, which opened up the door for my Kyogre next to Pikachu to seal the win. In game two, not sure what this team was, but playing aggressively worked out, and I was able to get fast knockouts while the natural bulk of my restricteds allowed them to survive one hit. In game 3, not my ideal start, but was still in a great spot when Lunala came in, and the Zacian was a difficult Pokemon for my opponent's team to handle, especially since they went for the Terra Fairy with the Lunala. In game 4, not sure what to say other than it was weakness policy Ludicolo, which I would not have expected. I think I needed Grimmsnarl since the speed control would have allowed Zacian to beat their team once it was slowed down, because I would have probably been able to one-shot the Ludicolo and it would have made my life a lot easier. In game 5, just got a knockout every single turn, and my opponent failed to defeat the Zacian. In game 6, Terra Ghost Pikachu was unironically very difficult for my opponent to handle and was able to disrupt my opponent majorly, allowing my restricted's freedom to attack their prey. In Game 7, Forterra was a bit tricky to knock out with Reflect, but I mismanaged how I dealt with the Klefki turns, and I think having the Terra Water Amoonguss game plan might have been better overall. Although, not sure if they had Headlong Rush, which could have probably just one-shot the Zacian, which could have just been very bad. But that Steel Beam Klefki was something I should have respected on my Zacian after seeing it the first time, and to use the opportunity to get a Amoonguss in by swapping to Pikachu to maybe get some momentum. How was Pikachu? Overall, is it better than Raichu potentially? That's really up to debate, because Raichu does have the better stats, it does have the better speed especially, which is the support, but because this Pikachu is utilizing Endeavor and has the weaker stats, it can be a thing. And also, like, Pikachu does have that option of potentially being a different threat, could be using the Light Ball on the Pikachu, and that actually does a lot of damage that you do have to respect, so it does play that mind game as well at the very least. But was Pikachu able to put in some work? Yes. Endeavor, Nuzzle, of course, just the paralysis all across the board. Upper hand a bit weaker, but it could have really helped out in some situations, especially against a Rillaboom or anything else that I had to deal with priority, like the Xianpao. It was a Mon that was able to put in its fair share of work. If you'd like to try out the team, the render code is on your screen. Hopefully it's still available by the time the video comes out. Otherwise, you can check out the details of the team and the creator down below in the description. And of course, subscribe to the channel for more VGC content as always.